Hi everyone, I am Miss Sarah from Oxford Library, and today I'm going to show you how to grow a crystal using the materials provided in this month's kit. Just a reminder before we get started that this activity requires the use of borax powder as well as boiling water, so make sure that these steps are done by a grown-up or with grown-up supervision. But otherwise, let's go ahead and get started. My first step is taking my pipe cleaner and bending it into whatever shape I would like my crystals to become. So for me, I might do a triangle or maybe a heart or maybe a circle or just a knot. I think for myself, I'm just going to bend my pipe cleaner in half like this and make some swirls. The most important thing about this step though is that we're making sure our shape is not too big or too long, that it touches the sides or the bottom of our glass container that we're using, whether that's a glass cup like I have or a mason jar. So I have my glass cup here with me because as I bend my pipe cleaner like this, I'm going to test it periodically in my cup to make sure it's not touching the sides or the bottom, and that it'll be just completely suspended in the water we're going to pour in there in later steps. So this looks pretty good for me. I think I'm just going to have a little twisty crystal like that. So my next step is I'm going to take my string and I'm going to tie one end of that string to my pipe cleaner shape and the other end to the middle of my popsicle stick. So as we do this step, it's again important that we have our glass container next to us because I need to make sure my pipe cleaner is not suspended so far down, it doesn't hang so far down from the popsicle stick that when I place the stick on the rim, it's going to touch the bottom of my cup. So that means I'm going to probably have some excess string left over, and that's okay because you can always cut it off. But we just need to make sure as we're tying, we're doing it short enough that it's not touching the bottom. So I'll meet you when I'm all done tying off my string. So here's my pipe cleaner hanging from my popsicle stick. Just going to make sure that my string is hanging from the middle or as close to the middle as I can get it. I have a whole lot of extra string here, but when I test it in my cup, if I can get it off my pipe cleaner, when I test it in the cup, I can leave my popsicle stick on the rim of my cup. My pipe cleaner is hanging down and it's not touching the sides or the bottom. So all this extra string can just hang off the side like that. Or you can cut it if you'd like, but we don't have to worry about it as long as it's not hanging suspended in the water with your pipe cleaner. So now that I know my pipe cleaner is at a good distance, connected to my popsicle stick, I'm going to take it out and just set it to the side. And my next step is going to be boiling 1 cup of water. So this can be done either in the microwave or on the stove top, or maybe you have a kettle, but as long as it's just 1 cup, because the pre-measured amount of borax powder that you have is enough for 1 cup. When you have more water, that means you would have needed more borax powder. So I'm going to go ahead and boil my water. Once it's boiling, I'm going to take it off the heat source. So that means I'm going to take it out of the microwave or off the stove, and I'm going to let it sit for just a few moments. I don't want to immediately pour my borax powder in there as soon as it's off the heat. It doesn't have to be longer than a minute, but just kind of let it sit for a second, let it rest, and then I'll meet you back when I have my water. So here in my glass container, I have my 1 cup of boiled water. So now my next step is I'm going to pour in all of this borax powder in our bags into this cup. So this is 4 tablespoons of borax powder. So it's already been pre-measured for you. So you can go ahead and just pour it all in there. And then once it's all in there, you're going to stir. Just a quick note about stirring in your borax powder. You want to keep stirring until all the borax powder has been dissolved into the water. So a lot of instructions say that you want to stir until the water looks clear. However, when I did mine, it didn't really look clear until I let it sit for a while. So even though all of the borax powder was dissolved in there, it still might look cloudy. If you want to add a little bit more boiled water into it, maybe just like a couple tablespoons, that's okay. However, it's not going to be the end of the world if you have some cloudy water, because it might just make your crystals a little bit cloudy, but it still will form crystals. So as you can see, me and my little helper, we were stirring our cup, and mine's still kind of a little bit cloudy, but that's okay, because I don't mind if my crystals are a little bit cloudy. I think it's cool that they're just going to grow. However, for the sake of the video, for the sake of time, I'm just going to go ahead and use my cloudy things. If you want to keep adding water and keep stirring until it's a little bit more dissolved, that's okay too though. But once I have stirred enough and I don't see any huge chunks of the borax powder left, I am now going to submerge my pipe cleaner. I'm just going to make this a little bit more together. I'm going to submerge it into the water, placing the pipe cleaner inside, but my popsicle stick on the rim, just like this. And now I'm going to let it set. I'm going to let mine set for 24 hours, but crystals take a long time to grow. So it'll take maybe at least 12 hours for you to get some good forms happening on your pipe cleaner. This activity takes a lot of patience. So I suggest setting your cup aside somewhere where it's not going to be disturbed, that you can kind of forget about it and do some other activities in between. Make sure though that when you're moving any cup or jar that you're using for this activity, that you remember the liquid inside is still very hot. So make sure you're using oven mitts or a tea towel or whatever you can in order to move it safely. So I'm going to let this guy sit. I'm going to move him over somewhere safer in my kitchen, and then we'll meet back again to see what's formed. So it has been 24 hours since I first put my pipe cleaner into our borax and water solution. And as you can see, there's some crystals even along the glass itself. So I'm pretty excited to see how my pipe cleaner looks. I have a paper towel here with me, and I'm going to just lift our pipe cleaner out of the water. Put it on the paper towel just to dry it off a little bit. And now, as you can see, it's covered in crystals that the borax powder made. It looks really cool. So really the last thing you have to do is just kind of set it there, let it dry for a little while, and then you can either keep it on the string and hang it up somewhere as decoration. You can do whatever you'd like with it, really, as long as you're not putting it in your mouth or anything like that. But this is a really simple activity. It just takes a little bit of patience. I'm gonna go clean off my cup. When I dump the water, if I still have crystals along here, I could always just use some warm water and kind of just scrub it off, and it should come out. And then you might want to give it a few rinses and a few washes before you use it to drink out of it again. But otherwise, enjoy your crystals, have fun doing this activity, and we'll see you at the library. Bye.